Hello there, everyone. Let me get my audio working properly here for myself so I can hear myself. I don't know why it's not on. There. Oh my gosh, that's loud. Oh, oh, oh. That was loud as fuck in my ears. Down all the way. Let's go. Poke, poke, poke. Let's go, boys. Woo! We got it. Let's go. Be back finally. Fucking Nvidia screwing my ass last time because of NVENC. Gonna make me try to buy a new one. Not trying to do that. Let me get my chat up on my screen so I can actually read chat. There we go. There we go. That shit. Let's go. Yeah. Bog bog. When isn't he racist though? Like for reals? Scale that down a little. All right. Okie dokie. I mean, this isn't the Chad keyboard. We got my current one. Finally. I don't know if it'll focus it, but yeah. Feel like he's on the phone just shouting slurs at random people. It sounds about like a work issue. Facts, bro. God damn. I'll move over. I finally found the freaking keycap I was looking for last stream the entire time. I was looking for this thing the entire time last time. It's this thing. It's little like keycap. Bro, that's fucked. Oh my, I'm going through. Oh, I don't need to pay. I mean, if that were the case, bro, like every American would be like, ah, nah, fuck McDonald's. I don't need to do that. Wow, you're pro, bro. That's pretty prog. What the? That is not the one I clicked on. These are out of sync again. Whatever. Alrighty then. That's set up, right? No. Let's go. Among Us. Did you say Among Us? I cannot open my thing. Yeah, it's supposed to toggle. I don't know why it didn't. Oh, because it's already off. It doesn't change. Yeah. Yeah. I bet. Back over. I finally fixed some freaking issues with the transition last time. Because like last time with the transition, I couldn't get it to work properly, and I've had this issue for a bit, and I didn't know why. But I guess in OBS, if you like in here, you have to like go in and turn off this, or else it like tries to use like your CPU or GPU to run it. And for some reason, oh fuck, my keycaps fell. But if you're not running it properly, if you're running it like this, and you have the hardware encoding on, it like makes it lag for some reason, because I guess it's like going through a layer of things, and it ends up failing most of the time. But I finally fixed that, so now it's all fixed. I gotta grab the keycaps. There we go. There would not be all stuck up, bro. Bro, I was just like fucking scrolling around on Omegle yesterday, and I swear to God, there was this dude with his cock out, and he had his first like immediate like copy paste response was like, "If you're underage, please stick around. I am looking for underage girl." He's like, bro, just legitimate pedophiles. It's just pretty pog, isn't it, mate? Oh, I can scale things properly. Looks like everything's working properly today, finally. Check and see. The fuck is it? Uh. Yeah, that's working. Let's go. I think so. Yeah. More people. That's pretty sauce. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and let's flip over. Why don't we? So, oh my god, if I don't throw my fucking keyboard first. And let's go into the gameplay. That'd be bog. Yo, bro. Let's go. 3 viewers. Yeah, I need a center. I need to find center. This is weird. It's weird with the camera above me because it's up here. It's right here, pretty much. And the problem with it is, like, I have to put my mouse pad at an angle. It's so weird. I figured out most of the issues I was having last stream with stuff. I'm still ironing out some kinks, but I think I got it pretty good now. I even redid the LUT and stuff, so my shirt looks good and everything. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we got the, oh my god, fuck me. This is the problem with this keycap. You can see that, like, literally it just falls right off. Like, something about the, like, PCI, the, like, ends on this thing. I was gonna say PCI end, Jesus, on the computer brain. Like, something about the cap length, something, it just doesn't lock onto a key very well, so it just jiggles, like, badly. Like really badly. So it's just a quick tap and it just falls right off. And it just knocked the face off. Oh my gosh. I guess this way you can kind of see how this keycap is put together. It's kind of weird. Let me move my head. Let's go down there. So, like, with this thing, it's weird as fuck, bro. Because, like, we have the actual, like, little screen thing, which for this one is just says hello. That's the wrong one. It has this, like, little hello symbol. It will not focus on that. There is no fucking way. This little piece of shit Logitech camera is not going to focus on it. There is no fucking way. So, like... Oh, yeah, there it goes. It's focusing a little. You can see it. It's like a little paper piece. And then the interesting thing is that it grabs... So these are each individual pieces. So this is this piece. And you'll just place it inside of it. Like that. There we go. And then these are held in with magnets. Pretty weak magnets overall. But then you can lock it in and it can kind of change symbols. It's actually a pretty unique thing. I do like these keycaps. These were pretty cheap. You can buy them for like 20 bucks. This is a set. And the nice thing is like this is like magnetic. They're pretty neat. Little itty bitty like artisans. I don't have any like really fun ones yet. Hence why this board, the current board we're working on, is kind of just boring looking. It's not boring. It's a lot better than black and white like this one is. This is literally just white with some black on it. On that KC pad too, bro. You can't even see it, but there's a fucked up texture over here. Actually, you can a little bit, can we? You can see a little bit of it, not much. So there it is, the keyboard. So we got the new board. This is not the new board, this is the old board. This one is still gonna actually be around for when I do switch testing and keycap tests and a bunch of stuff like that. And I also have an upcoming stream. It's just barely in the planning stages. I don't know when that'll be yet. Maybe in like a month or two, but I'm gonna do like a I'm gonna start a series about like talking about keyboards and stuff, because I think there isn't like good knowledge on a lot of this, and something I definitely will have to go over is like keycap, like sizes, like talking about ASA, Cherry, OEM, all the like different profiles. So I definitely want to get around to that at some point. I kind of want to go over like a lot of the keyboard stuff we talk about in the hobby. Often like why we choose specific switches, what each of them mean, what it means to look at like a graph or something like that, because it's kind of confusing if you're new to the hobby. And there's not a lot of like things out there that explain it to you. They kind of just tell you this is how it is. Like it's kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm just giving myself a few minutes to get myself like ready to go for this. Finally. This one over here. Why not? There we go. That makes life easier. So I can actually see what I'm doing easier. Because I have it on the main monitor, which is right there. And then my side monitor is where all my chat is. And it's in landscape mode. So I can actually look at it if I need to. I'll go right corner. That's good, I think. Right corner looks pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know. The zoom's a little fucked. I ain't gonna lie. Like I have to go. It's kind of fucked up. I got some other shit I got to work on for those, but yeah. Alrighty, bros. Let's get gaming. I got my freaking head. This is the worst. This headphone cable is just a giant, like, Slinky, basically. Okay. Let's move these puppies out. I forgot to grab the other wrist rest. I might take a sec and grab that here in a few. I don't know. Alright. So we got all of our stuff again. Got me bag of funds. That's got all my lube in it, bruv. And my brushes. Gotta have all my lube. These are my lube bags. I don't know why this is here. This is a fun thing. So this came with my old mic that I don't even know if I ever showed it. I still have it. It's broken because I broke it. I don't know why the fuck I did. I thought it was like something to do with the microphone, why it was having this really bad buzzing, but it was actually due to like interface, and it was a cable issue. So I broke the mic for no fucking reason. It still works, but it's a little bit fucked up. But it came with this, and I was using a soldering iron for the first time. I'm like, oh, I'll just wipe it on this. And then it just burned a shit ton of holes through it. So this is just a little microfiber cloth. I don't know why it's in my pile. Okay, we'll need these today. These are the screws and screwdrivers. Now let's get into the actual parts, and I'm trying not to make a mess here and try not to throw shit off my desk. You got me my lube tub. It looks like a cum jar. Like if you look into it. That's just cum, basically. It looks like it. It's just lube. But yeah. This thing that came with my keycaps that is shit. All things considered. It's just like a ripper. And I'll talk about that in a second. Why these ones are terrible. Give me my last bag of switches. Okay. Okay, let's just talk about this for a second. This is something that does get on my nerves. So this right here is a switch puller, to my knowledge, is what they call it. And this is another one that you can get. And let me go ahead. I know the Akko set comes with one for some reason. I'm gonna vent some frustrations out here. Okay, let's get these open. Okay, so these are 3 different types, basically, of keycap pullers here. And I absolutely hate these ones. When I started building, I didn't buy this. I had purchased a little bit after the fact, but this is the first thing I had. And these are a fucking nightmare to pull keycap switches off with. Oh, God. Mostly because, like, when you're trying to sit them on, they, like, you can see that. They kind of just fight you to get on there. Like, really badly. They, like, fight you really bad to get on there. They're terrible. These ones, this one that came with Akko, and I think Akko usually gives you a set like this. This one is not bad, but you can kind of see they get kind of like they can get around it, but they don't pull. You really have to pull on it, and sometimes they'll just fall right off. So these specific kind of switch pullers, you really have to have an orientation for them like that. That's the only way you're going to get them off. And I'm not huge on it. So personally, the only switch like keycap puller I have had that has actually been good is this guy. And this one's nice because it also has a switch puller. So the reason for it is that it pulls off on either angle. So you can see this is in this format. And then let's just go and do it on the other side. It works either way. And like I say, it also has a switch puller on the other end like this. So you can just put in and pull switches like that. Really simple, really nice little device. And this thing is maybe $3. These are shit. Just don't even look at them. This is what you need. 100%. I would never, I try not to use anything besides these at this point. So yeah. Okay. Get those back on there. I had a rant for that. I hate these little itty bitty things. Like, these are terrible. Horrible little buggering things. I hate them so much. Just don't buy these. Just don't look at these two. Just don't look at these. This one comes for free with the keyboard, so like there's not a lot of complaining to say about it. So yeah, whatever. Okay, now let's get this big boy out. Ugh. I did put it back in its box so I can show off some more about this thing. So this is ACR Pro 68, as we can see here. Thing's pretty big. It's a pretty big box. It takes up most of our screen here. And we go up the manual, which we'll go through in a bit. Here, we reopen her up. So this is where the switch puller comes with, and it comes with extra gaskets and then an extra USB-C unit. I really like that, just because I have seen boards where they do rip themselves off. We have here a good old-fashioned cable. It does have the like kind of coil that people like, but this is like more of a telephone coil, and it's a little hard to use. I'm not sure if this will even get used on this board. All right, and final thing in here is the feet, which are attachable, so you can kind of have it at angles if you wanted. That it already comes angled, but I guess if you're really, really particular about having an angled, that's what you'll go for. And this as well comes with an actual puller, and this one isn't too bad. It is really cheap, and it bends pretty easily, to my knowledge. This is another thing. Get it out. Also comes with the Allen key, which is very useful. This is the switch puller that comes with this board. And I for switch pullers, I've used, obviously, there's a few things that you can use. So there's these styles, and then of course there's the one, like I say, that comes on this. This one works good. You can, I don't know if you can see it, but it is bent like slightly. It's hard to see it, but basically this top one is bent slightly further up than the bottom one. It's kind of hard to show it, but yeah. So that one's kind of not great. I just realized this has a little switch on it. I don't know if you can see that well. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see it's right there. Little switch. That'll help you pull it. This one isn't too bad. You can kind of see what I mean though. Like this thing crushes really easy, so I can see this when you're trying to pull in switches and you a lot of times will push. It's kind of it crunches a lot. This is as well a tool. This is, I believe, some sort of like diamond puller or something like that. You can find these easily on Amazon. This is about a $5 one. This has a lot of it's really tight, and it's really nice to just rip up and pull things. Honestly, only ones I would consider. This one's good if you're just looking for an all-around tool. This is actually really good. Mine just bent after a lot of pulling, so this may have different mileage depending on who you are. And this one, I think, is actually pretty good. I recommend this one. This is the one I use exclusively, and then I use this just for this part. And I eventually will probably get a better version of this to begin with, but these two are pretty good. This one isn't too bad if you're just getting it and you don't have any other parts. I do like that they do give you one of each there. That's pretty awesome. I could actually do that for you. Okay, now let's move on. So yeah, these feet, like I say, I hate them. I hate these kind of feet. The ones that are like stick-ups. They're the worst. I've always had them break. Every keyboard I use them for extended periods on, they break. Just absolutely horrid. I absolutely hate them. Not a bad Allen key, but it's just an Allen key. I don't know what you want me to say for it. It's an Allen key. And back into the box. Gaskets, of course. Back over there. Is that it? And yes, it is. Okay. Now into the actual board. We have some foam. And we've got a couple things here to go along with the keyboard here. And that's just foam. So we have here the metal aluminum plate, which you can see is a glossy silver. It is, I don't know if you can, I don't think you can hear that. I'll pause the music. Nah, you can't hear it. It cuts it out, but it has a nice aluminum sheening. And it does have the parts that are just attached to the board, which I like that both of these do. So the gaskets aren't like sticky tape. The problem with those is I feel like sticky tape eventually runs its course and then becomes kind of crap to use. So personally, I don't prefer the sticky tape ones. I know some of them come with something like that. I know like I believe some of the KBD fans ones, like the KBD fans, I believe KDB 80 came with something like that, and I'm not a huge fan. It comes with an extra sticker that's on the back. This covers up the aluminum plate, which isn't bad, but the printing quality on this thing is rough. That is a big quality. You can see, I don't know if you can see it really here. I'm trying to move it close to you guys. Yeah, you can kind of see the print. Let me see if this camera will show off the printing quality any worse for wear on it. No, this camera makes it look better. Oh yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it. There's a lot of lines on it. A lot of like little lines that are kind of going down it. And I think it's just because this is a really cheap print. Like, this kind of print is super duper cheap, but it's a cute little design. And the one on the board is pretty much the same to my knowledge. So yeah, let's get into the board here. So this is disassembled. I didn't put it back together because I didn't see a point. So we'll go over in the insides here. But you can see on the back, it is pretty much the same. It's a little better, actually. The print on the back is this one. It's actually pretty much better. Yeah, that's right. Fuck you. But yeah, here it is. Here is the actual board. You can see, like I say, this is the top bit, and this is made of acrylic, to my knowledge. This is an acrylic kind of plastic. It does actually not bend. It's a really nice mount. It does have a little bit of flex, but that's to be expected with that kind of plastic. Here, this is a sandwich mount style kind of PCB, and I'm trying not to rip on the cable here. This is a sandwich style PCB pretty much, so that means what we have here. I see. Oh my gosh. This is a sandwich style, so that means that we have a plate that is screwed into the board. So we have a plate that's screwed into the board here. So it has a minor amount of flex, which I am not super keen on, but we'll see how that actually sounds and feels during typing. I'll go and try to push on this one. You can see the little bit of flex there. It does have flex. It's not a lot, but there is flex there. Here we also have the stabilizers, which seem to have a POM inner housing, and then either PTFE or some other or not PTFE, some sort of just like ABS plastic on the outside with a, I believe, yeah, just aluminum wire. Nothing special. I do like like I said, the gaskets are pretty nice here. And on the internal, there is a foam piece, like I say. And then there's this one. And then on the bottom half, there is a second foam piece. And what the fuck happened? My chat just crashed for a second. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then on the bottom here, we have a second little foam piece. And this one goes in the internal. Although I do believe that this is actually a replacement piece for the one that's here. It looks like that to me. However, it's not. This one is confusing because it has, I think this is actually supposed to go like this as a second layer of foam over top. I actually don't know. That's what it looks like to me, actually. This would be way too dense though, I think. I also don't think a Switch could make it through that. So I don't actually know what this is for. This is obviously not to replace the plate foam that's already in here. So I'm not sure. I'm just putting this in the bottom currently because it does have the sockets. These are Akko sockets to my knowledge because they are blue and it has the same style that Akko does. The board is all Akkos. You can see that by the ICR Pro PCR branding on it. And this little chip here specifically has a little Akko branding, which means this is probably their custom firmware and such. And to my knowledge, these are Akko sockets, although it does have an ACIT. I do recognize the logo, but I don't know where it's from. But they do have A's, so I'm guessing these are Akko's own similar socket, although they are pretty much just clones of the ACR socket. Oh, this is like a weird, like rubbery texture too. Oh, this is such a weird board. So yeah, this is this, and this is obviously the gasket. And then in the internal here, we have this guy, who is basically just a big piece of acrylic with a aluminum mount on the inside. You can kind of see that over that sticker. That's what it is. That is our, I believe, aluminum weight. I don't believe it's brass because brass is gold. Only one thing you can see is that this thing is dust filled. Like there is some sort of machining dust left inside this, and it wasn't really cleaned out very well. But yeah, and then there is your board. PCR, like the board itself inside her. Yeah. Let's go and reinstall that. I'm just gonna go ahead and install this here currently. This is the only area I can really easily put this foam for now. But yeah, so that's pretty much the entire assembly of the board. It is a pretty simple gasket mount. Nothing special. It is a little, I'm concerned about flex in this board. However, there is quite a bit of flex there. Like there's a decent amount. It's not like crazy amounts of flexy like some, and I think that's due to the fact they use rubber gaskets instead of foam gaskets, so there isn't as much compression that we can easily get out of this. So yeah, and you can't see it, but there is the Panda badge on the board itself. Go and move myself up. You can see there it is. There's that little Panda badge. You can't see it that well just because the silver's still on it. Silver, the peel. So that is pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started on the rest of this board. So what do we have to work on today? Well, let's go ahead and go to big screen for this. Oh man, it's lagging again. I thought I turned that off, didn't I? Yeah, I did. It must be something with CPU utilization or something. I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out later on. But yeah, so what we need to do today primarily is we need to fix stabilizers because the stabilizers are a bit wobbly and not as clean sounding and feeling as they could be. And on top of that, I want to mess with foam and see what sounds the best. And then we're going to put everything together. And I do need to put some sort of isolator inside the spacebar. That's for certainty. So yeah. And what I mean by that, and you'll see it when we get there, but I'll go like this is the current spacebar on my current board. And you can kind of see this is what that looks like. It's this like little like foam insert stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan for today. We got a few things to do, and then obviously we're going to be able to put the board together. That'll be fun. So alrighty, I guess the only thing left to do at the moment is go ahead and jump into it. So let's do it. So for stabilizers here, I don't really know what to expect. This is going to be kind of interesting. So I haven't really actually took apart and opened these stabilizers just yet. So we're going to need to figure out what inside of these is like. So yeah. Definitely need to figure out what the inside of these is going to be entailing. So, because I haven't actually opened up much past this assembly. I have, but I haven't opened it up completely. So let's go ahead and take it out. So something that is annoying about this board, 100% here, is that each of these is held together with a small screw, like this guy, little guy. It's really tiny. I mean, I probably could show it better on the webcam here. Really small little screw here. And then on the other side, it has this little mount. And you have to stick a flathead into it like this. Don't look at the floor, I know it's disgusting. You have to kind of like stick a flathead into it or stick your fingernail into it and then unscrew on the other side. Because for some reason, that's how they put together the mount on this. Don't actually ask me why, they just did. These are not magnetic at all. Oh, yeah. That's strange. I don't know why. So let's get these out. Oh my gosh, ow. My finger. I hate this. There's one thing I would change about this design is going fully screwless. You don't need screws. In a gasket mount design, there is not much need for a screw. And I might be able to prove that here when we get into this, because I feel like this board would sound and feel better without screws in it. So there's something we're going to have to experiment now with, is a hypothesis of, does it really need screws? Because it has 4 screws on it. And I'd understand it if we had 2, but 4 is a lot of screws for this kind of thing. To my knowledge, like 4 is a lot, and that's going to put a lot of like flex out of the board, which kind of sucks. But then again, if you're doing it that way, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's confusing. Alrighty, there we go. We got them all out now. So let's go ahead and let's take off the foam piece. So here it is. So yeah, this is definitely a foam. They do put some lube down. Very nice. This is like this is a Celipad under the actual PC. So you have to go pretty far down to get to the PCB. Like, look at that. There's a Celipad here. This little Celipad thing on it. And then you actually have the foam. And then there's a plate. There is a lot of isolation on this board, which is kind of, depends on who you are. I don't think there's anything wrong with a lot of isolation, but it can damper the sound. I think a good example of that is like the GMMK Pro. Although it has a lot of dampering, it sounds very muted because of that. So I'm not really sure if the dampering on this is good or not. I think that's just going to depend on how the board's going to sound. So, but there is a lot. So that's fully disassembled here. We have the plate, which is the PC plate. You can see that, how much it bends. Then we have the first layer of foam, which is just a little squishy layer, as you can see. And then under that, we have our Silipad thing, which usually helps stop isolation of the switches. This Silipad one isn't too bad. The concern is definitely this foam and then on top of the plate. And then we have the actual switch hosing here, which is pretty clean. So yeah, that's pretty good. And they actually do something pretty unique. They actually lube their housings bottoms, which is pretty good to see, actually. Them lubing that stops them from moving a lot. So definitely pluses to ACO for that. So yeah, this is definitely good. So these are screw-in stabs, or not screw-in stabs. These are set-ons, basically set-on plate. They're plate-mounted stabs. I really don't like plate mounts. I've used plate mounts literally only, but I really am not a huge fan of them. And I was more interested in this board because it says it has screw-in stabs on the website, to my knowledge. Let's go ahead and take out a stabilizer here, and let's check it out. So yeah, I am not seeing any lube on the interior here. Yeah, these are bone dry, and they actually, props to them, they actually come pre-cut. That's pretty awesome to see. That's pretty rare. We rarely see stabs come pre-cut, but they are. That's actually big shouts to ACO for that. I love the palm housing. I'm very happy about that. Palm just has a better feel overall, I think, especially with like switches and stuff, but palm stabilizers are good. The wires, they are actually looped internally, as we can see right there. They are looped internally. Yeah. I don't know what kind. It looks pretty thin, so probably closest to Tribosis consistency. To me, that's what it looks like. Pretty close to that kind of consistency, maybe even a little bit lighter. Not something like dielectric grease. The wire in this is pretty thin. Not the thinnest. It's pretty balanced to my knowledge. It looks pretty good. It's a little off. I can probably balance these. Here, let's go ahead. Let's see. Yeah, they're pretty good, actually. The tolerances on this are pretty good. There's a minor bend. These are pretty good tolerance-wise. Yeah, those are pretty good. Huge shout-outs to ACO for that. These are great stabilizers. This should be what you get when you get a pre-built keyboard, because these are not going to be difficult to modify. It's just going to be lubing the interiors. It also looks like to me that they have done something interior with this black plastic that looks like it's trying to kind of do the Holy mod without internally adding anything, because it's adding this like internal stabilization. Although that is a pretty big negative, is that it seems like to me Holy modding is going to be even more difficult with this. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it. You could. It just is probably going to be more difficult. So yeah, that is the internal stabs. These are pretty good, actually, surprisingly so. So yeah, alrighty. Let's go and pop them all out then. Let's just keep it going then. At least the spacebar is pretty good. We'll see about the rest of them. You want to know why I don't like plate mounts? This is the reason, is removal of these things is actually nightmarish to me. Also, plate mounts have a lot more wiggle room because they are mounted to a plate, so they kind of have to, because they have to use these clips. And I can't really show you that well, but on this, you can kind of see. Clip mounts are kind of a pain in the ass to work with, specifically because they are something you have to push in there. You can see that piece of plastic moves in, and then you pull up on it. And you have to do that and pull it. It feels like you're going to break the plastic, and sometimes, depending on the stabilizer, I actually have gotten them to break. Yeah. And internally, these are lubed, which is good, but I am not a big fan of the plate mounts. I hate plate mount stabs. And to my knowledge, it said PCB mounts, which I was very hyped. And interestingly, though, these have screw holes for plate mounting, to my knowledge. There is screw holes there. There is screw holes for PCB mounts stabilizers, to my knowledge. So that's not only absurd, it's crazy that ACO chooses to go plate mount with these. But the plates are designed specifically for PCB clip-ins, so if you replace those, you would have to get a replacement board most likely. I don't know. This is something I feel like if this would be something to ask ACO is why are screws built in on the PCB, but we are stuck with clip-in plates only, and why isn't it an option to pick between having screw-ins or having clip-ins on buyout or just as a general option if you want it? I just think for a custom board that's like this is a like DIY kit. I think that should be an option if the screw holes are already on the PCB here. This should just not be even something that's being asked about. This should be something that is just, done. A lot of boards, sometimes they do ask if it is an option, but sometimes they don't, because a lot of times they'll just do screw in or clip in. It just depends. This one has options, so I don't know. It's just a little confusing for me personally, and I would like to see them ask at least somewhat for it. I don't know. It's a confusing statement on that one. I can't even tell you. Well, let's continue getting these guys out. Like I say, I really hate clip-ins, though. Clip-in stabs are probably some of the worst. I mean, the thing is with this, I wonder. I have a set of clip-on stabs. Let me see. I have a set of stabs here. I bought some stabs on accident for happening, but I did actually buy a set of clip-ins, and yeah. So clip-ins are like screw-in. They're basically the middle ground between PC or plate mounts and screw-ins. Clip-ins basically are the middle ground because clip-ins you push just directly in and they lock in, so they're like a screw-in, but they're like a clip-in because they're just a push-in mount and they don't require screws. Now, which one? I don't know if they're any good because I hadn't even had a chance to use them. I actually bought genuine cherry ones for that, and I ended up throwing them away, which is just like, God, why'd I do that? I should have known better. I didn't buy any stabs for these because for this board. I chose that intentionally. I was gonna get the Durox at some point. I'm glad I didn't, but I was looking at buying new stabs. But I want to test ACO's stabs because I noticed now that they have palm. I'm really interested if these are going to be easy to tune or not, and that's why we're kind of here doing that. So, that's why I'm kind of interested to see how tuning is going to be on these. Where did I just push? What was that? Yeah, no, get in there. Okay, so let's get some lube out. And yes, we're going to need the big tube today, because that's how I like to lube them. So I'm going to go over how I lube stabs. So keep in mind, stab lubing is, any lubing, honestly, is a preference. Like, pretty much for anyone that's going to lube, it's preference. You can do as little, as much. It's just dependent on what you want. Oh, god damn, my throat is fucked for the minute. But yeah, so I like to use GPL 205 grade 0. This is from Novel Keys. You can get it anywhere. This loops from Divinity. I mostly like to buy from Divinity, but that's just me. At least for lubes. For lubes, you can kind of get them anywhere. It doesn't really matter. And then I like to use tune-up dielectric grease. This is a weird one, and I'll show you what this is. So first and foremost, we need to clean a lube off that's internal or anything like that, just because you don't want to over-lube anything. I don't have a rag or anything usually, but I can go grab one real quick. So I have a little cleaning rag here that I have for cleaning. Here it is. This is this little cleaning rag, and I'm just going to wipe the wires down with a little wet rag there, and then I will go ahead and wipe out the exteriors. I am not going to wash these because I don't think the lube's that heavy. We should be able to tune it out if it's on anything. It's mostly on the wires, so I'm just going to wash the palm stabs a little bit here. And then the internal housings don't have any lube on them. That is pretty apparent to me. So I am just going to go ahead and wipe these down. And this has just a little bit of soap on it, not much. This is just for cleaning generally. Okay, so now we have our lubes here. So I like to grab one of the internal housings. I'm going to use a pair of tweezers that I have. Usually you'll use the diamond grabber if you have something like that, but I actually personally broke mine, so I don't. So usually it depends on who you are. So there is different versions of a different mod. One thing people love to do is holy mod theirs. I have never holy modded because I have never had to. It's really dependent on the stabilizers, so do with that as you will, and it's dependent on what sound you're looking for. There's a lot of dependencies is what I'm getting at. So I'm going to just start by doing a basic lube job here. So let's go ahead. So I like to lube up a brush here and then just stick it in and just kind of lube up the internals of the switch. I like to go like 3 or 4 times here and the insides on each side. Okay, so there's one. And then on this one, the thing is this is definitely preference because I know some people don't, but I like to lube the sides. Actually, there is a little dash of lube in there. I can actually see it, huh? I thought there wasn't any. But yeah, so I like to take this and just rub my brush up and down a few times. Like that. And then the same thing on the other side. And then for the wire, I like to just do a big glob of dielectric grease on the internal wire housing like this. I like this a lot. This is basically how I like to lube stabs. This is the basic way of doing it. It's dependent. Like I say, this is how I like to lube them, but I've also seen people lube them barely. It just, like I say, it's dependent on who you are as a person. So that's kind of how I like to lube my stabs up. That is pretty much the exact way I like to tune. And after that, it's just getting tuning right, making sure lube's correct. But that's generally how I've liked to do them. So now I don't know which ones I've done. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead and get some more lube on there. This is where I like to do it, is inside the lid. That's definitely preference, but you know, yeah. And something, a little fun thing is you can also lube the outside housing. Like I say, all preference, all dependent on who you are and what you do. Like I say, I like to lube the internals a little bit. Not much, just a pinch on the inside. And then on the outside heavily. Oh gosh. The fucker's trying to run away. Oh god. There we go. Now let's finish up this fucking lead on this side, eh? Yeah, okay. And just smoosh him in. I said smoosh him in. Yeah, there we go. Like I say, I like a heavy dielectric grease on the insides of mine. So now we need to set up these guys for the internals. So generally, it depends on who it is, what stab it is, but I believe it is like this with these ones. So let me check. It doesn't look like it is. I will figure this out. Yeah, that's not it. Definitely not. Click that out. Click around. And my hands are covered in lube. Yeah, that's it. Now I could wash my hand off a little bit. Okay, so that's how it is. So that tells me that the side with the black on the edge, this side, So this side with the little black internal right there is actually where we're going to put the wire. So we just need to get freaking hands undisgustified because these are gross. I like lube, don't get me wrong, but dielectric grease is so hard to get off my hands sometimes, man. Also just disappeared. I don't know where it went. It probably got on my hand. Definitely what it was. Oh, yes. Lubing is a mess. I will not miss that. There we go. Hey, that's pretty good. If I would have put it on the right way the first time. There we go. We got our first stabilizer finished. Pretty much, so. I usually like to go right immediately to checking them as soon as I get one. So we're going to go ahead and just attach everything together a little bit. And we're just checking tuning here. Spacebar was not a good one to start with though, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and lube one of these guys first. Alrighty, so we're getting there. Just cleaning these puppies off real quick. There's a hair on my desk. So yeah, I didn't actually see it, but there's a drop of lube inside of some of these stabs. It doesn't seem to be very consistent, but hey, not bad. I do respect the little bit of lube that they do put in. Honestly, that's more than some, like the ones that came on the Skylong. Those black and white ones, they're pretty much bone dry, and the lube they did use are just terrible. So there we go. Now to clean the wire. Like that. Let's get that wire all cleaned off. Yeah, there we go. Bingo. Alrighty, let's get these puppies lubed. So a lot on that outside. So yeah. Gosh, there we go. Yeah. Man, I love OBS. Like, don't get me wrong. The stream we're running through right now is OBS, right? And I like OBS a lot. I really do. I've used OBS for years now. But OBS is one of those softwares like Premiere Pro or After Effects or something like. It's great. Okay, maybe not. It's not like those. It's better than those. But the reason I say that is that a lot of times those kind of softwares, if I could speak, are easy to turn into a punching bag, and OBS is one of those things, because OBS, especially when you start adding add-ons in, it can become very unstable and hard to work with, and I've had that happen with me with OBS plenty of times. Like, I couldn't tell you how often I had issues with OBS crashing or OBS splashing crash reports in the last week or so. Because I keep modifying the stream and I keep adding things, changing things. And a lot of times it just does not like when you screw with it. And that's fine. I get it. It's just I hate when it gets mad and it just starts yelling at you. It's like, oh, go, there's a crash report. Go see. It's like, I'm good. I don't care that much. Like, I like having like I like that they do a lot of things. Like, OBS is awesome. It's an open source, basically fully featured video worker. Like, I haven't used a software that's better than OBS, like, flat out. And I used Streamlabs OBS, Slobs is what I call that, because it's for slobs. And I've used XSplit. I have used XSplit, and I haven't used whatever that one is. God, what is it called? Like Workers Warehouse or something. I think that's what it's called. It's a basic stream app that has some fun stuff built in. Why won't you go in? Yeah, I've used those, and they're okay. Nothing compares to OBS. I mean, Slobs is just genuinely horrible. If you're new into streaming, don't use Slobs, just flat out. Streamlabs OBS is a actual terrible software, personally, because they cut out a lot of the features that OBS just makes easier. You can't do add-ons, you can't do a lot of things, and it's such an annoyance. And on top of that, there's so many ads and stuff. So if you're not using like a built-in, like, I don't know, like one of the built-in HUDs or something like that, don't use SLOBS. SLOBS is just genuinely really hard to use. I do like that have integrations and stuff, but if you're using the other service, the competitor StreamElements, they have integration as well. And StreamElements is super easy to use as well, and you can get integrations. Regular OBS just has so much you can add to it and use. It's just, OBS is a power tool, is what I would say. Like, it is genuine. It's hard to use sometimes, and it is super, super duper difficult sometimes. But I think if you can learn SLOBS, it is worth it. Like, or regular OBS, sorry. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I've used OBS for years, and I'm still learning things about it to this day. And I enjoy it. It's such a fun software to learn about and do things with. It's just fun. And it gives me an avenue to come to you guys through YouTube, Twitch, whatever I use, to just talk and have chats with. And that's just what makes it awesome. So yeah, okay. Now we've got that stabilizer all good and done. Let's get that in. Technically the first tune stab here, so let's go ahead and get a keycap out for it. I didn't go over the keycaps yet, and there's a reason for it. We'll talk about it in a minute. And this one, up on, no. And it's just because I'm hiding it. I'm not gonna lie, but I gotta get people to stick around for some reason. Give me it. Okay. Now we've got it, so let's go ahead and put it on. And I don't believe that is on, or there's some issues with the... There we go. Something's wrong.